ever seen, just as we had just a short time ago. We will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Great again. Great again.
Hey guys, good morning and welcome to the American Tribune Live. I am Todd Peterson and checking in on our folks. Hello, Rumble. Good morning to Rumble. We love Rumble, folks, by the way. Head over to the American Tribune Live community over there. Growing community. We got our podcast over there. I do another podcast on Fridays at the American Tribune. We got 2 Rumble channels going, but hello over to Locals, YouTube, X. I guess we're just going to be honest today, guys. I hate everything about Pride Month. There's no way around it. There's no beating around the bush. If you hate Pride Month as much as I do, welcome aboard. You have found the right home here. And this is not, we're going to debunk all of this today. This is not because I hate you if you're gay. It's not because I want to take away your rights. They're going to throw all those narratives out there. Again, that's what they are. They are narratives. It is propaganda. This has nothing to do with gay people. I've never figured out what rights gays and trannies don't have, but they'll tell you that all day long. I need to leave America because I'm too oppressed as a trans person over here. Maybe I'll go to communist China and see how that works out instead. I hate Pride Month. I hate the fact that you are celebrating this, making me celebrate it. And again, the stages of tolerance, celebration, promotion, acceptance, they just ramp it up every year. So what, I'm supposed to bring my kid to a parade where you're going to be a deranged individual in community, and somehow that makes life better in America. I hate everything about it. I don't want to walk in the store and see the rainbows, and my kid, because they chose rainbows intentionally, is just like, oh man, I love the rainbow colors. I love rainbow unicorns. God sent a rainbow to say I'll never destroy mankind again. And they steal it. They appropriate it. They'll yell at you for appropriating, but they will explicitly appropriate everything that's near and dear to us as Christians, to our kids. It's all disgusting. I hate everything about it. I hate the degeneracy. I hate the promotion of the self. I hate the idea of so much pride. And I'm left wondering, what are you celebrating? The fact that we celebrate Pride Month, folks, we are explicitly celebrating sexual acts. That's all this is. If you are gay, you are promoting your sexual activity. We don't have a straight month because we don't walk around our lives identifying, well, I have sex with this kind of person, so that's important. That defines who I am. So I need to let you all know what I am doing on my own. Folks, for the show today, I got a couple clips here. Again, a couple insane moments. If you are in the Scouts of America, because we can't call it the Boy Scouts anymore, it has to just be the Scouts. You can still send your girl to the Girl Scouts and they can have an inclusive, exclusive space. But if you're a boy, you are now just the Scouts. But they got these poor kids marching around. You can see the video clips, by the way. I will play this. It's astounding. I'm not surprised anymore. This is the lunacy we expect from the left. This is the evil we would expect. But these Scout leaders look the part. This is exactly, if you form an image in your head of the video we'll show in just a little bit here, what do these Scout leaders look like that are making these poor innocent kids march in the street with rainbow flags behind dudes in leather? It's everything you would expect there. Air Canada decided to go all in on that. They are promoting their first ever, and I don't have the tweet in front of me, but it's every letter you can shoehorn into this community, 2SAI, LGBTQ plus whatever else they have here. They decided to promote a flight that had the entire crew, ground crew, all be representative of that community. And my only thought was, I tweeted this out, it's too bad the passengers weren't all of the same community, because then it'd be a lot easier to root for that plane to go down. We're going to talk about DEI, of course. We'll get into the very simple explanation of why I don't care about any of that when I get on an airplane. And we do have good news. We got Benny Johnson. He visited a Target. Let me know in the comments below, folks, what you're seeing in your community for Pride Month. It seems more subdued. Now, you're going to say, hold on a second. Aren't you telling me that there are clips of Boy Scouts marching? Scouts. It could have been Girl Scouts, but it's just Scouts if they're boys. We got Air Canada doing its thing. Yes, I saw Major League Baseball promote a rainbow. All the sports teams are all in with that. But it seems more subdued out in real life. You'll never get away from the virtue signaling from these gender studies grads that are now running the social media accounts. That's not going anywhere. They're going to try to shove it down our faces. But the backlash is here. the more they keep doing this, Americans have tipped over. We are well past the tipping point. We just don't care anymore. We're not going to put up with it. And the more they continue to shove it down our faces, the more we will despise it. And what they are doing is going against their mission. Back in 2008, when we started the gay marriage conversation, if Barack Obama lied to us, he said marriage is between a man and a woman, and then all of a sudden you got gay marriage at the federal level. Most Americans were like, whatever. You know what? If they want to get visitation rights, if they want to get some inheritance stuff figured out, if they want access to kids, which is a huge mistake, just a huge mistake, most Americans were just like, whatever. I'm tolerant. You've weaponized my tolerance, my Christian tolerance against me, but I don't see it yet. People were fine with that. But the slippery slope argument has never been more accurate than what we saw happen from gay marriage. Since gay marriage was legalized, we have seen the trans community spike up. We have now seen the love is love argument almost reach its logical conclusion, which is normalizing pedophilia, folks. There's no other way around that as well. I have some memes and graphics, and then it's easy to debunk it. I hate even saying the word debunk. We're just going to expose their thought process, and then we'll simply explain away why that is all incorrect. So that's the show today. We'll see how far we get. We'll see how long it takes, but I thank you for joining me. If you're watching the show, drop a comment. Let me know you're watching. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you're seeing in the community. But again, if you hate everything about Pride Month as much as I do, and I don't know if I can hate it anymore, welcome aboard. You found the right community. We get spicy sometimes. We'll talk about current events sometimes. You get a little everything on the show. Today, we are just feeling a little bit outraged at the fact that here we are again in June, and here we are again with these same people doing it. And then I've got a fun banner from the account End Wokeness. These people have like half the calendar. At this point, you got your whole month. You got your awareness days. You got your awareness months. You got this and that here. But I have a graphic here of all of the dates dedicated to this community, and I just don't care. Now, personal philosophy here, I honestly didn't care. What were we, 20 years ago? Gay marriage started getting some momentum here, and we legalized it. I am at the point. It wasn't back then, but I'm at the point now where I think it was all a huge mistake. I don't know why we had to take away marriage. I understand why they did it, because they wanted to disrupt the most essential community you can create, which is a nuclear family between a man and a woman whose sole purpose is procreation, raising kids. You cannot do that as a gay couple. If you want to make the argument that it's tax benefits, it's health visits when you're in the hospital, I'm on board with that. Just do a union. But I am fully against everything that has happened now, and that is what they've done. They have radicalized me, if you want to use that word, but I really think we're just waking up to what is normal. I am not radicalized. I am now just normal. No, you don't need to get married. You can have your union or whatever. You don't need to adopt kids. This is a normal position as well. I am not a radical for saying that. You shouldn't be adopting kids. Every study out there, common sense would suggest there is something happening when a gay couple adopts a kid. And what's more, when you are surrogating it, when you are getting a woman pregnant, when you flip a coin and figure out whose genes are you going to pass along, you rip a newborn child from the mother. That kid will never have the same chances in life because the mother-child bond is irreplaceable, but you are so narcissistic, so selfish, you want to have your cake and eat it too, you want it all, you want to be gay and have your gay wedding, but you can't be a parent. It's one or the other. Be in a gay relationship or be a parent. You can't have both. We'll see if we get into all that as well here, but let's just roll the clips to start off with. I promised a clip from Seattle. Of course, it's Seattle. You've got the Scouts of America, formerly Boy Scouts, but again, that was too exclusive. You know, we had Girl Scouts, but that wasn't enough. You wanted to have a girl in your troop as well. Here are these poor kids, and I don't know where the parents are. I am not going after these kids here. I bet half of them are fine with it because they've been brainwashed and propagandized at this point. Where are the parents? Number one, I'm not putting my kid. If I had a son, I have two daughters, love my daughters. If I had a son, they would not be going into these Scouts. We'd be starting a boys-only network. But you're allowing your kid to march in a pride parade. I'm not a big proponent of CPS taking kids away. I'm not a big fan of the state removing kids. I mean, talk about in Minnesota, if I don't affirm my kid's trans identity, my kids will not go down that path, but there are other families out there. If you don't affirm their identity, Tim Walz in Minnesota will steal your kid from you because you're being mean to them. I am almost at the point, though, where I'm like, CPS has a role, and maybe it has a role when parents allow their kids to march in the streets for pride. This is disgusting. Everything about this is awful. Let's roll the tape.
Megan and Sue, our first pair of Brent Marshall.
Seattle Center. Here with us today are some of the amazing leaders who start
Our two exceptional women.
All right, I'm going to play the clip one more time. And again, folks, I apologize. If you're watching live, I have not figured out Rumble Studio. I don't even know if you can do overlays or do a graphic in the corner. So you get the full screen there. So I got to pause it again and restart it. Watch the scout leader that walks by at the beginning of the clip. He's going to enter on the front right. He's going to walk across the center of your screen. When I said this is exactly what I would imagine a scout leader look like, he doesn't look old enough to be a dad. This looks like a gay dude in the troop. That's it. And then you got to ask the question, why? Why do you want to be around these kids? But take a look.
Megan and Sue, our first pair of Brent Marshall.
Seattle Center.
Yeah, that's just a disgusting display all around. You as a parent let your kid march in a pride parade. I have no words for that. Again, I'm getting really close to going against everything I believe, with which the state would take away kids, but these poor kids. All right, we're just going to go to another clip here, folks. This is Air Canada. Of course it's Canada, celebrating their diverse flight crew. It is not diverse, though, because there are no straight white men. But let's see what they have to say about this.
It was a bit of a range of emotions this morning coming here and getting dressed for this flight.
C'est un moment historique qu'on vit aujourd'hui. J'ai trouvé ça une bonne initiative pour la communauté entière. Je suis comme un petit thrill de faire le vol aujourd'hui.
J'ai là supporté ma fille, une de mes 4 enfants est dans la communauté. Quand j'ai vu qu'il y avait une occasion de supporter encore plus, là, j'ai mis mon nom tout de suite.
We are doing the first ever, now let me get that one straight because a few letters have been added to this one, 2S LGBTQIA+ flight ever in Canada. I do identify with the progress flag. There's something in there that represents me as well. So it was a bit of joy having the opportunity to do this flight today.
Aujourd'hui, ce que ça signifie, c'est vraiment un moment très spécial. C'est vraiment un terme de visibilité, de vraiment exprimer à tout le monde. On se sent vraiment accueilli, vraiment accepté pour qui on est.
Pour célébrer l'inclusion à la diversité, nous sommes heureux d'annoncer que le vol d'aujourd'hui
features our very first all 2S LGBTQIA+ crew.
The safety and the well-being of all the passengers on board rests in our hands. So it doesn't matter who they are, what they represent. I'm equally responsible for all of them.
D'ailleurs, on aimerait vous souligner ce moment marquant de l'histoire canadienne.
And want to celebrate not just our community, but our freedom to be who we are, both at work and in society. Valuing people equally, both in the air and on the ground, and celebrating our identities.
I can't. I got to pause the video, folks. There's like another 30 seconds. But did you catch the part? And again, this is where I wish I could just pause videos and resume them. But there was a part in there where the crew, this all gay, bi, tranny, not straight white Christian crew, decided to say, you know what? I'm responsible for all the passengers, and I don't care what they are or what their background is. I'm responsible for their safety. And it's like, do you not get it? That's what I want out of my crew. I don't care that you're gay when you're flying the plane. I care that you can fly the plane. How come these guys, and I know I'm asking this rhetorically, how come these guys get to say, I don't care what you are when you step on the plane, I'm responsible for your safety, but I'm the bad guy if I say, I don't care either, I just don't want it shoved in my face. If I was a passenger on that plane and my captain got up on the phone and said, hey everybody, we're going to push back a few minutes late because I need to tell you how important it is that I sleep with other dudes. Is that important to you? It's important to me, and it's important for me to see myself in the plane and in society, and you're going to listen to this speech, whether you like it or not. And again, I don't care what you are. It's my job to keep you safe, but you better damn well care what I am when I'm flying your plane from some woke Canadian airport to some other woke Canadian airport. I don't care what you are in the cockpit. And the plane landed. Can you imagine the story if this crew crashed the plane? Like, oh, there goes the gay community in piloting. I don't want that to happen because there were not all of this 2S LGBT. And even these guys can't keep their alphabet straight. They're like, hold on, let me read this to make sure. They added a few more letters. Yeah, they're always going to add more letters. 2S LGBTQAI plus whatever. If that was the entire passenger manifesto as well, I mean, they're human beings, but it's just like something's got to give. Something's got to give here. But I wanted all those passengers that didn't sign up for that to make it to their destination safely. I just don't care. We went through the same conversation when it was DEI, when it's the FAA pushing blacks through to get in the tower, when it's United Airlines saying we're going to get 50% of a diverse workforce. And whenever they say diverse, folks, you just have to understand they mean not white. For the most part, it always means not white. But then you can angle it this way too. Well, you're straight, then you will not get hired. And I just want to know, what are the rules when you hire people? I assume they're just asking at this point, who's gay, who likes to sleep with dudes? Oh, you're not straight? Are you, I can see when I interview that you're not white, so you're hired. Like, how do we come up with a crew like this? Why is it relevant? I know I'm asking rhetorically here. When it comes to flying an airplane, I have very simple criteria, but this makes me the bigot. I just want to know that you can fly the plane. That's it. I paid money to go from point A to point B, and I want to get there safely. Can you take off? Can you fly? Can you navigate, communicate? Can you aviate? Can you land safely? That's it. That's all I'm asking for. I don't care what you do when you leave the airplane, as long as you're not forcing it down my throats and crashing the damn thing. But this is what Canada's up to. This is what they're all up to in America, even though it was a little more subdued this year from some of the big corporations. I just don't care. But I am now starting to care in the opposite direction. If they had just flown the plane and there were two gay dudes up in the cockpit and they set it on autopilot and they did whatever they did and I didn't know about it up there, I don't care. I just want to land and get off the plane and go along with my day or my vacation or my work trip. That's it. But now I do care. I care that they're shoving it down my throats, and it's making me hate this community more. Not the individuals. We all know individuals in that lifestyle. Nothing against them. They're good people. There are a lot of straight people that are awful. I'm looking at every white liberal that's married that lives in the suburbs that votes Democrat. They're far worse. But I just don't care. Now I'm starting to care. And I don't know if that was part of the plan, or I don't know if that was just unanticipated by them. But a lot of us out here are just like, I was going to tolerate it as long as it didn't bother me or affect me. But the more you shove it in my face, the more I'm going to push back. Certainly they understand Newtonian physics somewhat, but it's outrageous. It is simply outrageous. When you got Southwest doing its all-female crew, when you got these other airlines like, hey, we have an all-black crew today. You got Canada now with its all-gay crew. Number one, I don't care. But now number two, I am starting to care. Look, it is not simple. I am not a bigot. Why would we tolerate that? And then you just got to ask the question too, would this be acceptable if you had a straight white dude up there and he said, hold on, folks, I know it's our turn to push back here. We're going to let this other plane go because let me tell you how important it is as a straight white Christian male to be flying the airplane. You would be outraged. You should be equally outraged about this. If you are not, then you are buying into the propaganda. All right, folks, I see our Rumble count ticking up. Let me know if you're watching the show. Drop a comment, say hello. We got our regulars all the time that pop into the show that check us on Friday as well. I do the show as much to just get things off my chest, but I love being part of a community here that we're growing over at the American Tribune Live. With that being said, folks, I am going to take a sip of coffee. We've been doing a lot of talking today. If you enjoy delicious coffee at an affordable price, you guys can go to splitrockcoffee.com. I didn't even take a drink because I'm doing the promo. Go to splitrockcoffee.com and use promo code TOD10. When you are raising your kids as a parent, aspire for them to have their own promo code. I've made it. I have a promo code. Use promo code TOD10 at splitrockcoffee.com. Subscribe for even more savings every month, or set your order whenever you want new delicious coffee delivered to your doorstep every day. Don't worry about the grocery store again. Don't worry about sticker shock. Go to splitrockcoffee.com. Use promo code TOD10. I think I could talk a long time about this air travel nonsense. I know you agree. I know most Americans agree. We simply don't care. We don't want to have to care. I board the plane. I'm going to be honest, folks. When I got on the plane, I took a couple trips in April. We didn't do much of the show in April because I was flying to Florida, Arizona, Tennessee. Free states, by the way. It's all relative, but they're all free compared to where I live in Minnesota. I check the cockpit now. Let me know in the comments below if you check into the cockpit. I want to see old white men, because if you're an old white man, I trust that you know what you're doing, because they don't put up with a lot of stuff otherwise. If I see young women, if I see blacks in the cockpit, now apparently I have to look for mannerisms too. Like, is this an all gay flight that I got on? I wonder, and it is not my fault for wondering, but I wonder, why are you there? Now, I know there are strict hiring procedures. I know there are training practices. I know how the sausage is made too, though. I know if you're a minority, we'll use the word minority to describe anyone that is not a white male, you get extra attention. You get extra access to more training if you fail. They want you there. No major airline wants to deal with the fact that we fired this person because there is a lawsuit coming your way if you get rid of a black or female. So they give them extra attention if they fail. And I would imagine the failure rate might be a little bit higher than the rest of the training crew. So I look now, and it's not my fault that I look. I want to know I'm in good hands when I get on this airplane. And I know you can, how many flights take off every day, how many flights land, it's not a big issue. It will be an issue at one point, and it's even more of a point in the tower because the tower has got to figure out where's all the traffic going. So yeah, it is coming to that point there. And again, I'm not the bad guy for checking. They're the bad guys for forcing this on us and then making me question it. I don't want to have to question it. I don't care what you are up there. If they just said we hire the best, and I know they hire the best, I'm good. I don't care who's flying the plane. But now that they make it a point, now I have to check. All right, I got one more clip here, though. This is, again, we got some good news from Benny Johnson. He's checking out Target. Target peaked. I think they probably peaked in 22 or 23 with all the gay pride nonsense in their stores. I boycotted Target for a long time. I live in a small town. Target's basically all you got, so I have to go there. I got to be honest. I pick up the kids from daycare, and we have fun going to Target. It's a big store. They got the fun carts. We go look at the toy section for a little bit. So we go to Target. I give them my money. I get it. I'm a bad guy. I took my kids to Disney, too, so I don't know how many legs I have to stand on. But Benny noticed that Target seems a little bit quieter this year. My local Target, I noticed the same things. I haven't seen anything in my local Target. But here's what Benny had to say comparing last year to this year.
What's up, guys? It's June 2nd, a couple days into Pride Month. We are here at our local Target in Tampa, Florida, where we went thermonuclear viral last year by exposing the satanic groomer display targeted at children in this location. There was a major backlash at the time, and Target ended up actually removing a lot of these items from their floor in a humiliation for the entire brand. But we're back to check and see what kind of a display they have this year, since so much has changed culturally. Will they still be on the groomer, satanic, gender-bending, trans timeline, or is Target going to change? We've heard some interesting reports. Let's go find out. We got fireworks. That's a good start. And then, what is this? Right at the front of the store is a Coastal Classics American Summer display featuring this family.
Impressive. Very nice.
This is remarkable. I can't believe it's real. This was where the degenerate groomer display was last year, and now it's been replaced by a father and a son wearing patriotic ensemble. This is crazy. Red, white, and blue, Star-Spangled Banner.
All right, you get the idea. Talk about a sea change. Donald Trump winning the election was not just a political movement. More powerfully, it was a cultural movement. Guaranteed, Kamala Harris wins the White House. Target is going all in because at that point, they control all the levers of power. They do not care. There's no turning back. Naturalize the illegals, vote Democrat forever, destroy swing states, destroy national elections. They could do whatever they want. Donald Trump had to win at a political level. But more importantly, I think it was the final push. It gave Americans courage to say, you know what? I'm not afraid to tell you how I feel about this anymore. I'm standing up against this evil, demonic activity by these corporations targeting the kids. I'm curious too, folks. Let me know in the chat below. Like, what are you seeing at school as well? I mean, are a lot of your educators out there, and by educator, I mean woke bureaucrats, these are not teachers, are they wearing their stupid rainbow shirts? Do they have the school district print out their shirts in all the rainbow colors? Because I saw that. I had to live with that in the school system. But I was there in the peak as well. We're talking late 2010s, early 2020s. It was absolute insanity. I've told the story before that finally I was like, I'm walking away. I'm doing conservative media. But I was an assistant principal. And I had to sit down, and I love the irony here. It was an immigrant family, first-generation family, barely spoke English. I don't think mom spoke any English. And we're trying to explain to this Hispanic Catholic woman that your 9-year-old daughter is now a boy. And this happened at school. What are the odds? So I was like, no, I'm not going to be the administrator in this meeting and tell mom how to accept a boy in her life. She had all girls in her family. So that happens all the time. But there it is, folks. There's Pride Month. There you can see what's going on. It's not going away. There are some comments over on Twitter. I follow Fisher King. He's got some insightful stuff. He's kind of making the prediction right now that Pride Month is probably gone in 10 to 15 years. If you watch these pride parades, I realize that they're grooming the kids here, and I'm probably going to get banned from YouTube for using the G word right there. The kids are out there against their will. But if you look at the participants, it kind of skews older. And I don't know if the younger generation is necessarily doing this. I've never been to a pride parade. I've never been to a pride event. Maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe I'm misreading the tweet right there. But there's just not enough momentum to continue this. And if they do it, it's certainly going to just be on a smaller scale. And I'm even in the mindset like, yeah, you have your First Amendment rights to assemble, and you can go do your stupid thing because you got to celebrate who you sleep with, and you got to tell me everything about how you sleep with these dudes. But I just don't know if it's going to ever crescendo again like we saw previously. There's just not an appetite for this anymore. And people are starting to realize, I think this is a great time to get into some of our graphics here. People are realizing that the slippery slope argument has never been more real. When we started with gay marriage, it was always going to end up at the kids. And I'm watching YouTube. I'm waiting for YouTube to take down this video here. Correct me if I'm wrong, YouTube fact checkers, but the only way gay marriage ended was normalizing kid stuff. Let me pop this up for you here. So this is the argument that they make. This is how they get you. They say love is beautiful, love is wonderful, love is meaningful, love is healthy, love is love. All right. So they weaponize your Christian tolerance. You know what? Jesus said to love thy neighbor, do unto others. So they weaponize it. This is not about tolerance. And I got another graphic that will kind of dive into that a little bit more here. We got Fally in the chat. Fally says, good morning. I don't know why the overlay goes over the chat. Sorry about that, Fally. Yeah, Fally says, prides are disgusting. The parades are disgusting. Yep. Fally found the right community. Fally knew where I was standing on this one. Yeah, I hate everything about Pride Month. Hate the Pride parades. Fally's right there with us. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting, Fally. Good to have you on the show today. But this is the slippery slope in action. When they convinced you that two dudes who love each other, just let them love each other. You love your spouse. Number one, yes, a man loves a woman loves a man, but that is not marriage. That's not the totality of marriage. At its core, marriage is about the continuation of society. It is about procreation. Now, more and more couples are getting away from having kids in general. They might get married and have kids. They might just be roommates for the rest of their lives. But if you don't have kids, why are you married? Getting married is, yes, you're supportive of your spouse, but you're also there to raise kids. It is more than love. I mean, raising kids is basically the abdication of love between a spouse for a while. You got to focus your energy, attention, your emotions all on the kiddos. And that's what you sign up for. You say, I want kids. I'm going to build a better world for my kids. I'm going to raise kids the right way. It's not necessarily just love. Love my kids. I wouldn't marry my kids. But the gay argument here, when they wanted to tell you that love is love, let two dudes who love each other get married. That's why you married your spouse. What is the limiting principle when you use as a foundation love is the justification for a partnership, for a relationship, for sexual activity? What is the limiting principle on that, folks? If I am an older man and I am attracted to a younger kid, a minor, and I say I love them, what is the argument if you're a communist on the left that puts up with this nonsense? Where do you say, how do you justify, no, you can't love that kid? That's wrong. Why is it wrong? What argument do you have? You told me a second ago that love is love. Why can't an older man's sexual attraction, his love, his affinity for minors, what's the outrage? Where's the outrage? Where's the justification to say, no, that love is too far? They have nothing. And that is the point. The idea that love is love, it was hiding far more evils than just two dudes getting married and getting a tax write-off, a tax benefit for filing jointly. All right, I gotta get to the comments here. Fally's on fire, and they are showing nothing but sexual acts on their floats and grinding on each other. That's love. It's all about showing our kids the evil side of life. Yes, 100%. Fally, that is such a great comment. Let me expound on that a little bit more too. If it were about love, if they were marching in the streets to say, I love this man, I was born this way. And again, let's go down that path too. Let's just nuke our YouTube channel today at one swift act. If it was just about love, why wouldn't they walk down the street and hold hands and just smile at each other? They don't do that. It's the sexual deviancy, like Fally says. That's such a great comment. When you see a pride parade, you are basically guaranteed sexual degeneracy. Dudes in their leather, there are the whips out there, you got the leashes out there. This is not about love. This is about sex acts. And of course, I said this at the start of the show, Fally. I don't know if you got that part, but that's all this is. They are simply announcing to the world that if I'm a dude, I have sex with a dude. That's at its core what Pride Month is. It is the celebration of sex acts. It is not the celebration of love. And yes, they are showing kids evil. Fally, I played a clip of the Scouts in Seattle marching with their pride flags. These poor little kids have become numb to the idea that this is not normal. Nothing about this is normal. I'm going to ask the question again, though, for the YouTube overlords. If an adult man loves a minor, What is the argument for why that is wrong? And that is the whole point. The slippery slope has never been more real. I got to keep repeating this because this is the most important part about rejecting Pride Month, rejecting these parades. This is not about you as an individual. If you are born gay, and if you've ever known a really gay man in your life, that's just how they were born. That's just how it is. This is not a comment on them, the individual. This is a comment on the larger community and indeed larger political movement that is Pride Month, that is the LGBTQ agenda. No, love is not love. It is not that at all. I can love you as an individual, but again, they don't even want to distinguish the kinds of love. The way that I love my parents versus how I love my spouse versus how I love my kids. These are all different kinds of love. There are different kinds of love out there. They want you to think, though, that love is purely sexual. And again, I will ask this for anyone on YouTube. I don't get a lot of Rumble trolls. I don't go on Facebook because I value our Facebook properties too much. We have spent far too much money on Facebook to risk it. YouTube, I like to see where the line is sometimes. If there's a Democrat out there watching, and I try to get my family to watch, my sister-in-law, my mother-in-law, my friends, what is the argument why? If you are okay with saying love is love for a gay partnership, what is the difference then with a man and a minor? Where's the outrage when it's a teacher and a student? You don't like that viscerally. You know that's disgusting. But then why do you put up with this argument when you say love is love? They don't connect the dots. They choose not to connect the dots. But folks, there it is right there. It was never about just two men loving each other. Once they made the argument that I need to tolerate this and accept it and promote it and celebrate it because this is just love, there are a lot of different kinds of love out there. And again, when they talk about love, they simply mean sex. Sex is what they want to say. And again, it normalizes or it tries to normalize the most disgusting sexual relationships possible. I got to get back to Fally. That's not going on now. They're trying to force all of us to accept the disgusting lifestyle as normal. Yeah, and Fally, I think we have tipped over. We have reached the tipping point, as it were. We're not playing that game anymore. I was young, impressionable in college, and I was like, well, you know what? I'm attracted to this. They're attracted to that. It is what it is. They want to have that relationship. That's fine. I put up with it not having the foresight to see where it would go at the time. But now a lot of my generation has grown up. My generation that either voted for it or tolerated it or just kind of drank the Kool-Aid, as it were, to be like, yeah, they like each other, so that's fine. They can do that stuff in their bedroom. Whatever that they do in the bedroom is fine. But then we didn't necessarily see the political power that came with it. And again, everything that we've seen since then, the transing, the men and women, the grooming of kids in schools, it is all directly tied to this. And yeah, we're not accepting this as normal anymore. I'm normal. I am normal for viscerally finding this all disgusting. I am not radicalized. I am now normal. I have woken up to this disgusting degeneracy. These people are insane and evil and immoral, and they are the ones that are radical. Fally, myself, my Rumble audience, we are just normal, and we've had it with this nonsense. And the more they shove it in our face, the more we're going to hate it. I got to get to this graphic as well. We'll just kind of dispel another one of their talking points. So this graphic says gay pride was not born of a need to celebrate being gay, but our right to exist without persecution. So instead of wondering why there isn't a straight pride movement, be thankful. I can't even finish that. Again, Rumble Studio. One day they will work out the kinks here. But you get the idea. The right to exist without persecution. This is what they say all the time here. I just want to exist. I want to have the same freedoms as rights as you. We heard the pilot on Air Canada say this. He said, folks, it's just so powerful here. They were wiping away their tears. I'm so proud to stand in front of you and be recognized, and my community can be seen in society and not have our rights taken away. I asked Democrats previously with that other graphic, can you tell me what the argument is why a man loving a child is wrong? And there is none, but I'd love for them to try it. They would just say yuck. But then when I say yuck, I'm a bigot. But can they ever give you an example of what can't a gay man or a trans doesn't exist? This is a made-up term, but what can't a man or a woman, what can't they do that I can? What rights do I have that these people don't? And it's the same argument you hear with the black-white conversation. It is all one and the same. What rights don't you have as a black person in 2025? What rights as a gay person do you not have in 2025 that I, a straight white male, enjoy? The answer is none. Now, I can point in the other direction. I can tell you that if you are black, you get bonus points when you apply to college. When I was on interview committees as an administrator in the school system, I would have to put up with, well, we got a black candidate here. This would be a really good person to hire because then they represent our student body. We never talked about will they be a good teacher? Are they qualified to do this? Do they have the skill set and the temperament to be an educator in a tough school system? We didn't ask those questions. We said, they're Black. This is great. We'll have a Black face on our school. And folks, I promise you this. I am not kidding when I say every single Black educator we hired was an abysmal failure because we didn't look at their qualifications. This was neither fair to them as an individual or to our students. Now, did they have good relationships with the toughest kids? I guess so. Did the toughest kids benefit from their presence? Hardly. The learning didn't take place. Yeah, they found someone they could laugh with and throw the football around with. I think that's great. Maybe be a para instead of an actual teacher because you're supposed to teach kids. And this is not to say that there are not good Black educators out there. This is not to say that there are never any bad white educators. There are bad people that are teaching of all kinds of backgrounds. But when you hire someone based on their skin color, do you not see how that is a problem when you ignore the necessary qualifications to fit that role? Yeah, Fally, you keep interrupting my train of thought here, but you're on fire. My daughter switched teams after college. Demand my husband and I better accept this or we'll never see future grandkids. Then she woke up. Thank God. She's married with a little girl. Fally, what a wonderful story. Thanks for sharing that there. Yeah, sending your kids to college, man. I know Jason and I shared stories. I mean, I went to college. I saw that. I, as a young kid, had conservative values, but I see the temptation because they couch it in this evil, euphemistic language. Love is love. You can love anybody. These people are evil over there for saying that marriage is a man and a woman. They're evil for wanting a secure border. And you buy into it because they make a convincing argument when you're 20 years old and impressionable. Fally, I am so happy to hear that your daughter woke up from that. And how much happier is your daughter? I don't know if I'm putting words in your mouth, Fally. I guarantee she was miserable as a woke switch hitter there for a second. Married with a kid is the most fulfilling thing a woman can do. And the same applies to men. There's nothing more fulfilling for me than being a father and a husband. That is natural. That is what we should aspire to. And they want to take that away from all of us. But I bet your daughter has never been happier than mothering that sweet little girl. I have 2 little girls too, Fally. I can only imagine your joy being a grandparent with that one. Love that story. Yeah, let's go back to this meme, though. They want to exist without persecution. I am waiting for a Democrat to explain to me what they can't do that I can. I can give you examples of what they can do that I can't. They can get ahead in the application process in college. They can get ahead in the hiring practices of any government institution or corporation. You get your own month. You get to be degenerate and celebrated in society. I get called a bigot if I don't celebrate your degeneracy. If they don't celebrate me, they get the opposite. They get to put me down every day and get celebrated. No, this doesn't work. Yeah, tolerance only ever goes one way. And we have just seen that exposed with Pride Month. It's not about tolerance. It's not about love. It is about sexual degeneracy and political power, cultural power. But again, waiting for that answer. What can't they do? It turns out you can fly an airplane. And not only do you fly an airplane, you get a promotional video. If you had 2 straight white dudes, just 2 boomer pilots, safely flying a plane from point A to point B, they rack up 25,000 hours of airtime, never had an incident in the aircraft, they retire with no fanfare, maybe get a little hose over your plane on your last flight. They don't get a promotional video. But if you're gay and you're a new hire, look at all this. You get to wipe away tears and be with your community. That seems like you get more than the rest of us, folks. It is upside down. Quit getting lied to. And then I got to pop this one up here. This was right the other one, so I didn't want to forget this as well. This is from End Wokeness. I don't think they made the list. If you are listening on Apple, if you're listening on Spotify, I am going to read down. This is going to take a long time. So we have Pride Month. Everyone's like, it's only 1 month of the year. Take a listen to this. February 19th to 25, Aromantic Spectrum Awareness Week. Actually, what is aromantic? Aromantic. I think that's when you just don't love anybody, right? Experiencing little or no romantic attraction to anyone, not having romantic feelings. So they get a week. I think they're part of the coalition. I don't know if Aromantic has a spot in the Rainbow Jihad yet, but they should get their own letter. March 21st to 25th, LGBTQIA+ Health Awareness Week. March 31st, Transgender Day of Visibility. And do you know what's hilarious? The man that founded Transgender Day of Visibility chose March 31st specifically just to spread out the calendar. There's nothing meaningful about that other than the fact that they wanted to weaponize and take over the entire calendar. April 6th, International Asexuality Day. Aromantic, asexual. Can someone let me know what's different about that? April 13th, International Day of Pink. Oh, pink means you day opposing homophobia. Oh, so if you wear pink, you're not homophobic. Nothing about what I've said today is homophobic. Number one, I'm not afraid of them. Number two, I don't even dislike them as individuals. I just hate that they do parades, and I hate that they try to go after the kids. But that makes you homophobic these days. April 14th, Day of Silence. April 26th, Lesbian Visibility Day. I wonder what came first, Lesbian Visibility Day or Transgender Day of Visibility? May 17th, we'll keep going. May 17th, International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, and Transphobia. That one sounds really new. Actually, I think this calendar didn't even exist 10 years ago. That's how much they are pushing this nonsense. 10 years ago, this calendar didn't exist. These days didn't exist. Okay, we got another one. May 19th, Agender Pride Day. The agenders only get one day of pride. She was an angry woman. Yeah, I bet she was, Valley. Yeah, they're all angry. They make you angry. They make you miserable. If you're on the left, you cannot be happy. This is not hyperbole. This is not an exaggeration. You can be one or the other. You can be on the left or you can be happy. You can't be both. May 22nd, Harvey Milk gets a day. Folks, do a deep dive. I'm on YouTube right now, I think. I don't think they've struck the channel yet. Do a deep dive on Harvey Milk. I think he went after kids. I'm not positive. I think he went after kids. May 25th, Pansexual and Pan-Romantic Awareness Day. They just make things up. Entire month of June, Pride Month. June 23rd is Stonewall Day. June 28th, International... What's funny about Stonewall, too... we'll get into that later. June 28th, International LGBTQ Day. Now, this seems a little bigoted because they only get LGBTQ+, whereas before you got the LGBTQIA+. Someone's got to figure that out. It seems very, very exclusive to the I's and the A's. July 14th, International Non-Binary People Day. It seems like June, July, you have to get international here. July 16th, International Drag Day. September 23rd, Celebrate Bisexuality Day. Didn't we already have a bisexual day too? Doesn't matter. They can have as much as they want. Entire month of October, LGBT History Month. Again, not very inclusive. Where are the two S's in that month? Where are the I's and the A's and the pluses in that month? I don't know if the agenders or the aromantics or the asexuals get a day there. Also, agender and asexual, what is happening? October 8th, International Lesbian Day. Oh, October 11th. So this is why, actually, the National Coming Out Day. So I told you how the March date, March 31st is the Transgender Day of Visibility. They did March to be on the other side of the calendar because October was the History Month. It was the Lesbian Day, National Coming Out Day. So they couldn't butt it up against each other. I think there's a pun in there that I intended. October 17th to 24th. Now they get an entire week within their entire month of Gender Fluid Visibility Week. And October 19th, International Pronoun Day. I did not know that existed, the International Pronoun Day. I think Prosecute Fauci is still my favorite international pronoun. My graphic cuts out here, but if we go down to November, you got Transgender Awareness Week. So you have March 31st is the Day of Visibility, and then you get another Awareness Week in November. And November 20th is Transgender Day of Remembrance. So there is, folks. Everybody is not having rights. Everybody is denied existence in society. And as you look at the calendar, if you have any critical thinking left, if you have any free will left, if you've not abdicated that to the state and just become programmed as a robot, you'd be looking at this calendar and you'd be thinking to yourself, gosh, seems like we spend a lot of time celebrating these people for their sexual proclivities. Nothing about here says relationships. Nothing about here says love. It's just about your sexuality. That's all this comes down to. It seems like you get a lot of days on the calendar. And I know the other meme said, where's Todd's month? Where's the, I don't even get an hour of a day. I don't get a straight white guy day. They would tell you that's every day throughout human history. And then I wish I could share my screen because there was a really great tweet. Some gal is at Mount Rushmore giving the middle finger to the presidents and the carving in the mountain. And they said, how does this make you feel? And they wanted you to be mad. Like, yeah, you give a middle finger to Mount Rushmore. And there was a reply to that saying, it makes me feel like the Cheyenne took it from the Arapaho, took it from the Kiowa. You're mad when the whites take it. But when it's the Indians taking it from the Indians, taking it from another tribe of the Indians, just ignore that part of history. Same thing here. Yeah, it's all white guys have always had it good. Simply incredible stuff. It is Pride Month's out of control, folks. Yeah, just checking the comments here. Fally wants the rainbow back. I want our rainbow back too. I want the rainbow to be God's covenant. That's all it was. Now, you could say the kids appropriated the rainbow. Kids just like colors. My kid's favorite color when she could first talk was rainbow. I like rainbow color, Dad. I like all the colors. Why are you making me choose? I like all the colors here. I'm going to draw rainbows. That was my favorite drawing I did for her. And she was always very impressed that I could do like the red and then the orange and the yellow. And it was kind of coherent. And when you add a little cloud at the bottom, folks, it really ties in the rainbow nicely when you're drawing for your kids. She likes rainbows. God sent a rainbow as a promise to us. And then these demonic fools stole it and they turned it into something different. So now that when you see rainbows, you're not supposed to associate it with God. You're not supposed to associate it with just childhood. Now I have to think of sexual degeneracy. I have to think of mental illness. Fally, I want my rainbow back too. All right, folks, I'm out of clips. I'm out of graphics here. We have been going strong for 45 minutes. I think we're going to wrap things up here. Final thoughts on this. Let me just summarize the title of the show again. Yeah, I hate everything about Pride Month. That is the normal feeling to have. They want you to be numb to it. They want you desensitized. They simply want you to think like this is all normal. It is normal for dudes to go out in public and display their sexual deviancy. It is normal to have kids walk out there with pride flags and just grow up in a world where love is love, because then you don't question the fact, well, today love is love means two dudes. Tomorrow, love is love means dudes and kids. And well, love is love, I guess. That's where they want this to go. Yeah, and Fally says they're going to run out of letters pretty soon. I mean, if they were inclusive, the S in there should stand for straight. But again, their tolerance doesn't extend towards you. This notion of all sexual activity should be celebrated. They don't celebrate heterosexual activity. Not that I want them to or need them to, but if they were really concerned about all lifestyles, remember our pilot? I should go back to that clip again. If I wish I could play just a little bit of the clip, Fally, or audience in general. But speaking of Fally, because she's in the comment section, he was like, I don't care who you are as my passenger. It's my job to get you safely from point A to point B. And my whole point is like, yeah, that's my argument for you being in the cockpit. I don't care that you're gay. I don't care that you're speaking French right there. I don't care who you are. I just care that you're a qualified pilot. Get off the phone, get in the cockpit, push back from the blocks, and don't delay my flight any longer. Quit lecturing me on how great it is that you're gay. And then you're allowed to say that it doesn't matter who your passengers are. Yeah, it doesn't matter who my pilot is. Get the hell out of sight and get in the cockpit and lock the door and take off this plane. But yes, if they wanted to be inclusive, Fally, they could use more letters. I think they are going to run out of letters. I do wonder when the P is going to get in there. Although they call them MAPs now. They're minor attracted persons. This is already gaining traction. But I'm waiting for the P to show up on the alphabet soup. I think I'd have to pull up an image of the flag. They always add... like BLM got a mark in there. Like apparently that matters to your sexuality and identity. But I think I've seen the P get on some of the flags now. Just be honest, folks. Just be honest. You want this to head towards the kiddos. Why else are you teaching 5-year-olds in kindergarten class about how great it is that so-and-so grew out their hair and wore a dress now to school? It is wild, folks, and I hate everything about it. I hate that society puts up with this. I hate that our kids are exposed to it. It is just another same shit new day. You got it, Fally. I don't know. It seems like a great time for a little PSA, like pull your kid out of public school. Folks, I was a teacher. I was an assistant principal. I aspired to do all things in government school systems until I saw how awful it was. My kids will be going to a private Catholic school. I'm not even Catholic, but I'm like, it's private, it's churchy, it is not government schools. You got to pull your kids out. If you send your kid to daycare, I always make this point too. People are like, well, it's free. Well, number one, it's not free. You get your tax dollars stolen from you. You get your income stolen from you in the form of taxation, property taxes, income taxes. But if you send your kid to daycare, I guarantee private school is a discount. I think I pay $2,000 a month for daycare for the kiddo. When I send them to the Catholic school for kindergarten, I'm going to be paying $500 a month. I got a huge discount for sending them to protect them from these woke communists in the school system. Why do you think God made us all different colors? They are idiots. Fally, you're on fire today. I got to get you on the program and co-host. I got to get you a chair, get you a microphone. But folks, it is a discount. Private school is a discount if you're paying for daycare. All my friends, though, they were counting down the days. When do I get to save my daycare bill? Send them to the government school system. You can't look at it that way. There is nothing more valuable than the mind of your child. Don't send your kid to the government school system. They're all bad out there. Where I live in rural Minnesota, people are like, the rural community, it's okay because it's not in the city. Fact check, 100% false. Every single teacher goes through the same indoctrination program in college. Every single administrator, when I did my administrator meetings and everybody from around the state of Minnesota came in, doesn't matter what part of community you were in, doesn't matter how much they voted for Trump, you as an administrator were woke, just blitzed out of your mind woke, and then you got to run the show. Community didn't like it, shove it up their ass because they just don't care. They are brainwashed, they are on a mission, and they're going to tell you that you're intolerant as they completely ignore your own viewpoints and act completely intolerant towards you. Oh, no, Fally. Yeah, reclaim June. June is Fally's birthday. Yes, reclaim June, Fally's birthday. That is the only celebration allowed. I think Bastille is next month. Okay, we get Flag Day. We get Flag Day and Fally's birthday. That's about it. All right, folks, with that being said, I hear a contractor outside my door. We're going 50 minutes strong. Fally, I appreciate you commenting today. Love your comments. Always insightful stuff here. I'm looking at our Rumble count. We got a few more Rumble views. Folks, thanks for tuning in. Let me just, I got to bookend the show here, let you know where you can find all the properties. So this is the American Tribune Live. I am Todd Peterson. I go live every Tuesday and Thursday. Love doing the show. Love interacting with the comment section. So if you're in the show, you're watching it, drop a comment. Let me know you're in here. Let me know your thoughts. We have a separate Rumble channel, the American Tribune, just full stop, the American Tribune, as opposed to the American Tribune Live with Todd Peterson. I do a Friday show, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern with my business partner, Jason Robertson. We go a full hour and a half. We do a Rumble only at the end. You can catch that on Facebook. We always invite you to join us on Rumble anyways, because you can say things on Rumble you can't say on these big tech communist platforms. Yeah, P for pedos. Fally gets it. And you can check out, we got a website, theamericantribune.com. 12, 13 articles, 15 articles every single day, breaking news, big stories going around in the world. We have a second site, the Christian Tribune. We have a Substack. Will Tanner, another one of our business partners, was on the Matt Gaetz show, got invited on the Matt Gaetz show on OAN to talk about Rhodesia, South Africa, and what they are trying to do in America. Make no mistake, they are setting us on the same path to turn into South Africa. And let it be known, once whites are in the minority, there is never a good outcome. This is proven throughout history. You can use your common sense. They will scream all day long about blacks are oppressed, the gays are oppressed. As soon as you, the straight white in America, are the minority, there will be no reverse DEI. There will be no reverse, you get a month now because you're in the minority. They will squash you with all the power they've accumulated, and you will pay for the sins of all eternity, and you will have your land stolen from you, and you will be murdered, just like we are seeing happen in Rhodesia and South Africa. So Will Tanner, excellent pieces on the AmericanTribune.news. And again, he made an appearance on the Matt Gaetz show to talk about that. But we love it. We love all the platforms we have. We love all the communities we're building out here. I do appreciate you guys tuning in today. Fally says homeschool. Yeah, my brother just pulled out his kids. He's homeschooling. He's got a 10 and an 8-year-old. My kids will learn how to read and write, and then they're back home with me as well. I'm going to get them started on the American Tribune. They will be junior partners. I'm going to give my 6-year-old a podcast, I think. So that's the game plan over here. Far better than what they would learn in the government school system. But I do appreciate you folks tuning in. We're back on Thursday, 9:30-ish. We'll get a hard time established here at some point. 9:15, 9:20, 9:30. You can log into Rumble sometime around then and catch us. And if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, like what you see, share what you see. We got great stuff coming your way. But again, folks, thanks for tuning in. I am signing off here. We'll catch you next Thursday. Have a great day.
Starting on day one, we'll implement a rapid series of bold reforms to restore our nation to full prosperity. We're going to go full prosperity and to build the greatest economy the world has ever seen, just as we had just a short time ago. We will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will